But right now, Randy's on another mission in Canada's far north. He's here trying out for the Ferry flight of a lifetime.
Dave?
Sir.
Hey, it's Randy McGeehee.
Randy, nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
The United Nations needs this plane in Africa to help save lives in South Sudan, the world's newest country. And the twin-engine Dornier is perfect for the job. It carries twice the cargo of other turboprops and can nail a short runway, paved or not. Ideal for the rough and tumble world of UN relief missions.
You can land this thing fully loaded in 500 feet, so you can get her stopped pretty quick.
Wow.
If you come in slow.
That's impressive.
Randy's at the bottom of a steep learning curve.
I haven't seen anything like that.
He's never flown a Dornier, and he's got just 2 days to learn. And even though he's racked up an impressive 10,000 plus hours of flying time, the Dornier will force him to up his game.
When I learned he was an airline pilot, I had concerns. Randy flies a 767. I mean, that's a big jet. But if you even talk to Randy, how much does he actually fly the aircraft? Well, not really. You push a button and it sort of does its magic, right? To jump into something like this now, where you're actually hands and feet back to old school, what you used to do, if you haven't done it for a long time, anyone's gonna get rusty. Aircraft flight manual here. Your standing operating procedures. The company operations manual is there.
Looks pretty bad, man.
It is a lot of info.
That's a lot of reading.
There is, but you're an airline pilot, man. You can figure it out.
It's like a fire hose in the mouth. It's a lot of information, and you got to take it in as quickly as you can get it.
We'll give Randy as much assistance as we can, but he's going to have to pick up the ball and run with it himself. We've got 9 other airplanes I'm worried about all over the world. So after your guys are all done for the day?
Done for the day.
Yeah, I'm feeling the pressure on everything I got to learn. It's a lot, and it's a big responsibility.
It's a big step up for the Dornier, too. Its latest posting was hauling passengers and cargo around Canada's north. But for its new war zone tour of duty, the Dornier got a nose-to-tail upgrade. UN branding, the latest in navigation systems, and a brand new coat of armor.
The main gear's got clamshell doors that clip up and seal it right in. We have a Kevlar coating on the belly, so this is bulletproof, basically. So we got all our markings on it, United Nations under this wing and on the top of the left wing. They're very specific on where they want them. There's also a UN under the belly that hopefully means don't shoot.
I wonder if that gives us much protection at all, though.
I guess for those who can read and don't have a problem with the UN.
The last part of this trip, we're going into a really unstable part of the world. There's a lot of areas that we want to avoid overflying and definitely don't want to land in.
This is your basic layout. You got a normal checklist here.
All right, so where's the autopilot at?
We don't have autopilot, so.
There's no autopilot on this plane? So we're gonna hand fly this thing like 9,000 miles. I didn't know that. On top of having to learn all the emergency procedures, normal procedures, and everything else, now I've got to be going back, reverting back to my old flying and having to concentrate on just flying the airplane. I don't think I've flown a plane like this without an autopilot or flight director since 10, 15 years ago.
It's just a different style of flying. This is all hands and feet, so you do get lazy. I mean, I flew for the airlines, and yeah, you lose your hands and feet flying. And here, it's all we do. We don't have autopilots, so, you know, we're landing on some, you know, sometimes a 1,500-foot ice strip, so you're really flying the bus. You know the old saying, you can make, you know, hundreds of errors, but you just can't make any mistakes. Now, if he can't do the job, then he's not going. It's as simple as that.
For Ferry pilot Randy McGeehee, it's all or nothing. He's got a rare shot at delivering a United Nations plane to Africa. But first, he has to prove he can handle it.
Company 207.
207, this is company, go ahead.
Maxing out for a training flight with Randy. Airman, your brakes, your control.
Out of the airplane.
Randy's never flown a Dornier.
Let's do it.
How this airplane lands and flies will be just a little different. You want to have that finesse and good hands, but it's not always that easy.
Power set. Airspeed's alive on both sides. You have 2 good engines.
To ace this test, Randy has to respond to every tilt and roll of the plane. It's all about having the perfect touch.
All right, man, it's your plane. Just bank around, get used to it, have some fun.
That rolls quick. I'm actually not used to that. That's cool.
Yeah, very responsive, isn't it? It's like a Ferrari.
I was expecting it to be a little more stable, to be honest.
This ain't no ball.
The Dornier is old school flying. All hands and feet, no autopilot. Randy puts the Dornier through its paces, turns, climbs, and some of the scarier stuff.
You want to run a stall or something, or?
Just call stall max power.
Stall max power?
We're set.
Climbing right out of it pretty good.
Yeah, you don't need to pitch for it at all.
Yeah.
It'll just power right through it. Let's go. Way overpowered, this airplane's off.
All right, sweet.
Well, for no autopilot, you're doing pretty good, man.
No V-bar, we're talking about no flight directors. I'm actually going to have to start flying again.
Not having any issues with this thing. For all the airline pilots, though, he's terrible. He's terrible.
I was expecting him to be rusty, especially on his altitude control. And he was nailing his altitude, even in a steep turn. I'm looking, and he's got it just on the rails going around the corner.
Randy's hand flying is impressive. But the most challenging part is just ahead. The Dornier was built for balance. Heavy cargo in the rear, and passenger bags in the specially designed nose. Putting that nose down gently takes a skillful hand.
The nose is going to want to drop out on you. So you got to really catch it, okay? Don't let it just go bang. Just feel it. The nose will come down, let it just sort of drop by itself, and then just check it back hard.
All right, I'll try, man.
And use as much as you want to. You can figure out where those wheels are.
All right.
Rough plus 15, looking good. I'm looking sweet. Very nice, sir. How's outstanding, brother?
Thanks, man. I was working for it, though.
There you
I
are.
gotta say, I was working for it.
Randy's earned his seat on the Dornier. Far north of the equator, in Canada's Northwest Territories, Randy McGee's also made the cut.
We're ready to hit the skies. I can't wait to get airborne, you know?
The veteran pilot has mastered the Dornier's systems, earning a place in the cockpit on a demanding United Nations flight.
The pressure's on us. We got to get the plane over there.
It's a risky trip. From the far north, they'll cross the rough North Atlantic, then over continental Europe into the heart of Africa. More than 12,500 kilometers.
One spare of everything.
Randy's used to being called captain, but on this flight, he'll answer to Dave Matheson.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do this.
7202, or take off runway 10.
Let's take off 10, 7202.
All right, brother, you have control.
Is that max power?
For max power on route altitude, is that correct? Airspeed alive, both sides. We got 2 good engines. Goodbye, Yelena.
I love this machine, man.
Position Director Keller, maintain 9,000 control from the 20.
The first leg stretches nearly 2,300 kilometers to the remote northern community of Iqaluit.
Well, we're not Kansas anymore, man. There is nothing around here but tundra and water.
We're 15 miles. I've got some type of light ahead, but that could be anything right now.
Got it? Yeah, it's a town. It's kind of blurry, still some clag in the way. I don't even worry about it, though. I just flies the numbers.
Calvert radio, good evening.
They're putting down for the night to refuel the plane and themselves.
Right, warm for a callow at this time of year, huh?
Warm is minus 20. To avoid a mammoth de-icing job, the plane must be towed indoors. Delivering planes is the ultimate in no-frills flying, where you're not just the pilot, you're also the ground crew.
It's just a pain in the ass because it's freezing out there. You're tired from the flight. You know you have an early morning, and we're having to do our own work.
The joys of Arctic travel.
What little sleep they get here, they'll need. In front of them is a 10,000-kilometer marathon, with the finish line in a combat zone. For Dave and Randy, it's been long hours of jockeying this United Nations Dornier from the Canadian Arctic to Africa.
Hey, I want to see Greenland here. It looks cool, or at least...
Yeah, if it's not clouded over, it is nice.
Now at the 1/4 mark, they're approaching Greenland.
Yeah, once we cross these rocks, that glacier, and then it's hitting the bay there, that'd be cool.
Randy sees a photo op, but after hours of butt-numbing boredom,
I start coming up with a hole right through the middle of it.
Dave sees a slalom course.
Minimums.
It's just for fun. Still, skimming this ice field requires absolute precision.
Too low, terrain.
Here, the nimble Dornier shows what it's made of. Quick and responsive. So is Dave, who honed skills like this competing in aerobatics.
The most fun I can do in an airplane really is aerobatics. That's a real test. You know, it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of practice, a lot of training.
Dave has great hands. He can manipulate that airplane and make it do whatever he wants. I have a lot of respect for that.
With the icebergs in their rear view, it's back to the business of rationing fuel for the long trip ahead.
Are we there yet?
It's gonna be a long trip for you, my friend.
Yeah, big time.
Now, in Egypt, Randy and Dave are facing trouble of their own.
Morning, dude.
Super Dave.
How's it going, bro?
Good, man.
How'd you sleep?
Really great, actually. How about you?
I've been up since 1, crunching numbers.
In 4 days, they've come 9,700 kilometers. But it's the last 3,000 that they're really worried about. Flying over war-ravaged South Sudan.
Flight planners have us taking 6 hours and 37 minutes. And we have 7 hours of fuel. 23 minutes reserve, which is not enough.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Even with a full tank, their assigned flight plan from Egypt to South Sudan leaves them barely enough gas to finish the trip. Pilots call it fuel critical.
So if we get any kind of a headwind, basically we won't make it. So I've been racking my brain all night, trying to figure out how to make it work. If we can get any kind of a tailwind, it'll increase it to probably about 40 to 45 minutes of fuel, which is perfect. But a headwind we won't make it.
What other options do we have?
I checked in even land in Khartoum, it's not an option. They said don't bother. It takes 48 hours to get permission and it's sketchy.
Yeah, it's not my first option. We don't have any other place to go, though, huh?
There's no friendly place to land between here and there. It's almost 1,200 miles. And when we start up, we need an immediate taxi and also an immediate turn on course.
Yep.
Otherwise, they could vector us out 100 miles before they get us on course. We don't have. So hopefully they play ball.
From the moment they switch on their engines, they're eating into their already slim fuel reserve.
All right, man, fuel's critical. We need to take off as soon as possible.
Roger. Summit 202, requesting position. We're ready to take off.
But the guy in the control tower has other ideas.
Negative.
Damn it.
Air uniform 202, line up via Charlie, runway 17. Accept?
Sure.
Accept, sir?
Yeah, accepted.
They're sent to the far side of the airport to await permission to take off. Another gas-guzzling delay.
We're trying to take off and get out of here quick, and it's not helping us.
Their flight plan leaves them only 23 minutes of reserve fuel. Every second on the ground will cost them in the air.
Air uniform 202, clear for takeoff.
Let me take off, Intercept 212 from Alpha Sierra November, VOR, Summit 202.
All right, buddy, you ready, hotshot?
All set, let's get going.
Finally, they get clearance to take off.
Air uniform 202, airborne time 18. Have a nice day.
Their plane, a Dornier, is a strong climber. But in the desert, the air temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. The plane's engines are having to work harder, burning through the gas.
So hot, man. Our performance is, we're getting killed.
Worse, the guys in the control tower have assigned them a flight plan that looks more like a cow trail. Dave radios air traffic control, asking for a more direct route to save on fuel.
Sir, Summit 202, is there any chance you could approve us direct Golf, Oscar, Papa, Delta, Alpha? Just because we're fuel critical on this leg, sir, and it would help us out a lot. Be nice to us, buddy.
Please, after contact with Cairo Radar, you can take this clearance, Tehran from 202.
It's bad news.
Yeah, by the time we get to 110, it won't matter. We're fuel critical.
Air traffic control has ordered them to climb to 11,000 feet, contact another control tower, and try again.
Hell, man.
High over Africa, pilots Randy McGeehee and Dave Matheson are tight on fuel and low on patience.
Friggin' 100 miles in the wrong direction is not going to help. It's 45 degrees over our track.
To get this United Nations plane, a Dornier, from Egypt to South Sudan, Randy and Dave need a direct route, or they risk running out of gas. Instead, air traffic control has them on a flight path that staggers down the continent.
Nice when you're sitting on the ground, air conditioning, and you're not up here worrying about running out of fuel, you know?
30 minutes later, they're in airspace controlled by another tower.
Cairo, good morning. Sierra Uniform 202, 110. Request present position direct. Golf, Oscar, Papa, Delta, Alpha. Fuel critical.
I can't give you permission to overfly direct to this point. All I can do with you is to proceed direct New Bar, November Uniform Bravo Alpha Romeo.
That's straight in the frickin' line.
Translation, request denied. Again.
That's why he won't turn us. I mean, he probably can't even work with Sudan airspace, you know?
Randy and Dave will get one last shot at shaving time off this trip, but not until the halfway point. And with just 23 minutes of spare fuel to begin with, halfway could come too late. Above the African desert, landing is the last thing Randy and Dave want to do right now.
We're fuel critical on this leg to make Juba. Is there any possibility we could get direct?
They alert air traffic control as they approach Sudan. It's a war zone. Putting down here could get them kidnapped, or worse.
We just did 1 hour. We burned 656 pounds. I'll get back to that in a second.
Short on gas, Randy and Dave have been asking for a more direct flight path. Twice denied, they have one last chance.
Sir, no copy from Khartoum at all. Could you relay?
They can't raise air traffic control on the radio.
Awesome, we're in hostile airspace and we can't talk to anybody.
After several attempts, finally, they make contact.
Sierra Uniform 202, radar contact. Would you say again your request?
And sir, from Sierra Uniform 202, any chance for direct Romeo, Alpha, Bravo, Alpha, Kilo? We are fuel critical. I say again, we will be fuel critical. It is imperative we get a straighter line than this. That means go ask your boss, diphead. Come on, baby, give it to us.
Negative, military area.
Thanks for no help.
What a dick. And he knows we're fuel critical.
You know he could give it to us. And we're a United Nations flight. We're not there to bomb anybody.
Out of options, they're banking on a smooth flight with no surprises. And in ferry flying, that's asking for a miracle. Over Africa, a run of bad luck has finally turned around for Randy McGeehee and Dave Matheson.
195, we picked up a couple knots.
Not great, but I'll take it.
They started this flight with just 23 minutes of fuel to spare, what pilots call fuel critical. But Mother Nature's thrown them a bone, a tailwind that lets them ease up on the throttle and use less fuel.
Every knot helps. Try to squeeze 200 knots out of this thing if we can. 197.
To bleed every ounce of mileage from the Dornier, Randy and Dave need to work this plane super efficiently.
I mean, we look like we're trimmed out perfect, so our drag's as low profile as possible. We got up as cool as we can, gives us cool engines, less fuel flow, off our engine second, better range and endurance. I can't think of anything else we can do right now. We really got to start calculating that fuel. We're already losing our tailwind.
Speeds dropped to 193. Damn it.
That's not what we want to see.
Damn it. We're down to 300 pounds reserve right now. But that's doing direct. That's not with all this horse that got us going.
Even with every fuel-saving trick in the book, the detours ordered by air traffic control have been sucking the gas.
300 pounds of fuel left, which means we have 15 minutes.
15 minutes of spare fuel leaves them no margin for error.
We've lost another 3 knots already since you started this fuel calculation. Everything's trending against us right now. We're losing time, we're losing airspeed, we're burning more fuel. It's not looking real good.
And the view out their front windscreen is worse.
Look at this, man. Damn it.
In Africa, storms can be sudden and fierce. Randy's about to get his first taste.
We can't go around that. We're gonna have to pick our way through it.
The plane is too low on fuel to dodge this storm. They have to hit it head on.
Bro, that's bad.
Doesn't feel that bad.
Dude, that is lightning. Dude, lightning. You see that? Yeah.
12,000 feet over Africa, Randy McGeehee and Dave Matheson are caught in a heavy storm. And their twin-engine Dornier is low on fuel.
Dude, we're in all sorts of trouble right now, man. I mean, wicked returns. I'm just punching us through it right now.
They started in Yellowknife, Canada. 8 fuel stops and 13,000 kilometers later, they're on the last leg of their mission to deliver the Dornier to the United Nations in South Sudan.
This thing just came out of nowhere.
A storm eats up fuel. Randy and Dave have asked permission to fly around it. But in this part of Africa, nothing's that simple.
All right, Speed. Come on, pick up now.
You know, man, storms in Africa are legendary, and this one doesn't look good.
When they left Egypt, they already knew fuel would be tight on this long last leg of their trip.
All right, man, fuel's critical. We need to take off.
202, request take position. We're ready to take off.
Negative.
All right.
Air traffic controllers refuse to let them take shortcuts over conflict zones.
Is there any chance you could approve us direct?
Negative.
What a dick. I say again, we will be fuel critical. It is imperative we get a straighter line than this. That means go ask your boss, diphead.
I can't give you permission.
With less than an hour worth of fuel to spare, they push on through.
I've had to go pretty far off course. Actually, it's settling down better than I thought now, but the radar looks bad.
You'll get some more bumps coming up here, but it won't be nothing crazy.
Well, look at this, man. Now we're getting back on course here.
The storm blew out of nowhere. Now, just as suddenly, it's dying down.
It's going to be awesome, man. We're going to land in Juba, the newest country in the world after coming from the Arctic. That's pretty cool, man.
Totally. 6 years of work to get this thing to Juba.
The Dornier 228 is a heavy hauler that can land on the worst African dirt airstrips.
I'll be excited once we get there.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Welcome to Juba, South Sudan.
Thank you.
This is Carlos.
Hello, Carlos, Randy. Nice to meet you.
Work especially with him and his people.
The plane will join the fleet of the United Nations World Food Program, transporting aid workers and supplies all over South Sudan.
This flight was like none other that I've ever done because I honestly believe this airplane being here is going to save people's lives, and it's going to help people and make their country better and make their lives better. And it meant something to me to be a part of that.
Randy and Dave's job is done. For the Dornier, the real work now begins, helping the world's newest country get on its feet.